when it all came together was when we were in Amsterdam, and I just became really keenly and uncomfortably aware of how, you think you're getting somewhere, you think you're growing as a Christian, that kind of thing, and all of a sudden you're in a situation where you go, I am just as susceptible as I was when I was 16 to a lot of things, and sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves about that. Well, Beaker and I were talking in a train station about the whole thing, where we were and where we wanted to be, and we'd gone into some pretty explicit detail about the nature of our temptations and of those struggles, and this guy leans over, and we're in Germany, right, and so we're assuming no one's going to be interested enough in whatever we would have to say to actually bother to translate and listen, but this guy leans over in the train station, the only other guy in there, and he says, "Excuse me, but are you Rich Mullins?" And so I had to think back over our conversation to see if I was or not, and decided that I must be. Whether or not I like who I am, that is who I am. And once again, it's back to the ragamuffin thing, the realization that people are going to judge you. And there are, I think, actually people who look for excuses to condemn you and look for excuses to say bad things about you. But God doesn't look for those kinds of excuses. And I think the conclusion of the matter for me was that I think I would rather live on the verge of falling and let my security be in the all-sufficiency, the grace of God, than to live in some kind of pietistic illusion of moral excellence. Not that I don't want to be morally excellent, but my faith isn't in the idea that I am more moral than anybody else. My faith is in the idea that God and His love are greater than whatever sins any of us commit.